Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
When it's time to scale your business, it's time for Shopify. Get everything you need to grow the way you want. Like, all the way. Stack more sales with the best converting checkout on the planet. Track your cha-chings from every channel, right in one spot. And turn real-time reporting into big-time opportunities. Take your business to a whole new level. Switch to Shopify. Start your free trial today.
All right, welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast, Kevin and Chuck. Well, so you saw the title, Congressional Hearings About God? Well, not really. Maybe sorta. Here's my theory. All right, now work with me. Hear me out. What I'm thinking is we're having all these congressional hearings about aliens. We've had, what, 3, 4?
Three of them now, yeah.
3 of them?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and it's been over 2 or 3 years. So not in the last week or anything. But we've had three, I guess is what you just said. 3 hearings about aliens and whether they exist and whether the government has information on whether they exist. And apparently somebody feels that it may be important to understand this or to know this. But we have no congressional hearings about whether God exists. And I would posture, now work with me, that there is more evidence in science about God existing than there is about aliens existing. Now, that's my theory. And I'm just saying, hear me out. And I'm going to lay out a foundation and we'll kind of see where it ends up. But let's kind of start the other way. And Kevin, first of all, there actually were some talks about hearings about God, right? Or about aliens.
About aliens? Yeah.
How did it, but about God, like whether they should get into aliens because it
so there's some rumors going around.
Okay.
That there's a group in the Pentagon that's trying to prevent any sort of alien information going out and any research in the UAPs. They're trying to keep anybody from investigating it.
That's because they don't want us to know about aliens, right?
No, it's because they're demons, bro. You don't want to fuck around with demons. You don't want to mess around with demons. So the group is called the Collins Elite. This is like rumor mill stuff, though. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? I don't have any names of any of these people. Nobody has said this particular general or this particular admiral. But apparently they said that the secrecy around it is because you don't want to find out about demons, bro. You don't want to mess around with that sort of stuff.
No.
It's like doing a seance at your house and getting a Ouija board. You're messing around with powers you can't understand. And that's why you can't mess around with the aliens. Because they're evil.
So it's kind of funny because I'm looking at the articles right now. There's one in the Daily Star, which is a UK newspaper. Okay. And it came out September 29th, 23. Mm-hmm. And then there's one from the Daily Mail in the UK, July 30th.
Right.
So it's a little bit apart. And I guess, so that's like a drop it at the end of the month. We don't have any stories left. We got
we don't. I mean, this is pretty. There's multiple reports of people saying they heard somebody say they heard somebody say it. There's not really any evidence, just like aliens. Yeah, people heard about it and they heard somebody else saw it. And I'm telling you, my friend's uncle, his best friend works in the Pentagon. And they have aliens, bro.
Exactly. That sounds like proof, right? A newspaper article. Send it to print. No.
Right. I want to hear, I would love to see some aliens. I'd love to get some evidence, but I just can't buy in yet. You know what I mean?
No. And that's the thing. So there's been some guys on Joe Rogan and different stuff, and they're like, look, no physicist, they keep saying in the Pentagon that they defy the laws of physics, or maybe it's articles coming out. Maybe it's not the Pentagon. I don't know. Like they keep saying
program or whoever.
We keep saying we see things that defy the laws of physics. And then you get all these physicists because, Joe Rogan's got physicists every day on the show and whatever. And they're like, well, what physicists looked at it? Well, the important ones. And then one of the guys was like, I'm really curious. I'm a physicist. I want to know, at least it's one of my colleagues that I know I can talk to. I can dug into it. And they were like, yeah, we checked and you're the one they keep referencing. And he's like, but I haven't seen anything.
Right.
No proof that they defy the laws of physics. And yeah.
What are you going to do? I mean, is it Eric Weinstein? There's two brothers.
Eric's sharp. Eric's usually the one that I always see. Yeah. Eric and there is another one. Brett. Yeah.
Yeah. One of them apparently is widely considered to be the smartest person on the planet alive today.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think that maybe if you're looking for a physicist, that wouldn't be a bad find.
No.
But he hasn't seen anything, and I have heard that same thing, that he was the one that was looking at it, and he said, "Nah, I haven't seen anything."
He's like, I've only seen what you've seen in the newspapers. He's like, I don't know anything. He's like, nobody's shown me any. And so that's kind of my point is, that, hey, it's, it's got to be a little more meat to it. So we somehow give it all this credit, but there's nothing there. Now, your argument might be, well, Chuck, it's because they're hiding it all. They're not sharing it with us. And that's possible. We don't know. And that's the whole thing. But I do find it hard to believe that the military has like top secret genius physicists that they're like keeping on the down low that nobody's ever heard of.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Brian Johnson, you thought he was just the singer in AC/DC, but he's also,
the physicist.
Actually the physicist. Any of this is possible, but we don't know. Now, so I guess where I'm kind of coming from with this is, one of the terms that we like to hear in education and all these things is the science is settled, right? Like it's already been decided. Every scientist in the world agrees and we know. And that's kind of the argument that we get about God. Every now and then is, well, we already looked at it and we know that God doesn't exist. But the crazy thing is science has completely changed in the last 20 years of our understanding of everything.
Right.
And so when I was growing up a million years ago in elementary school and into high school, and we're talking about 80s and maybe early 90s, they were like, oh, it's obvious. Every scientist agrees this is our understanding of everything. There's no, chance that, that a God created it because look at evolution, look at all this stuff. And then they kind of moved into the Big Bang theory. And that just happened out of nature and it just happened. Right. And that's fine. But now that we have a better understanding, and honestly, a lot of this is in the last, I have crazy hair, in the last year or so last 2 or 3 years, a lot of the physicists are coming out and saying, it really it's not what we thought. And so there's a couple theories I want to break down for you, and you just hear me out and then you make your own decisions. All right. There's one that's called irreducible complexity. Now, I'm not a physicist, so you got to, work with me, but irreducible complexity, the way it's explained is you're not going to have something evolve or just happen into a complex object. So the idea would be, even if you waited 1 trillion years on all the planets we believe to exist, you wouldn't expect to just find a completed clock laying on the ground with the gears and the working and the interacting, of all that. It's not going to happen. One of the examples I kept seeing was a mousetrap. They were like, you're not going to find a mousetrap come together just on its own out of nature, because that would be ridiculous, right? It just, and the idea is, all right, so you have a spring, a lever, the whole fulcrum thing. You have all this stuff, but without every part, what the other ones have no purpose. So it's really unlikely that it would evolve, because what comes first? Like the spring comes into shape, and then they all only serve a purpose together for it to be random chance. That's kind of the idea. And the idea with a clock is, it's not going to. Now, then the argument is, well, something that's alive, like, humans, the human eyeball, you go into the deeper and you realize that's really complex. And how does that evolve? And people say, well, we started out as a small being that was already, a cell, right? Remember, we learned about them in school. And that was the thing. When it was taught to us, cells were very simple. And we thought that they just were a simple, like, little thing that, you kind of had the heart, the whatever. However, when we realized all the DNA code, see, that was the thing. We didn't have the understanding of DNA that we do now that goes into it. When you realize the complexity, you're like, yeah, that probably didn't just happen. Now, there's a really crazy thing, and you guys can look this up, because you can all, oh, Chuck's crazy, and I'm good with that. But work with me now. Called bacterial flagellum. Now, bacterial flagellum are tiny cells, right? They're those little pill ones, and they had the tail. They kind of look like sperm in the image. I think I got an image for you guys who are watching it in the video. It basically ends up, they're like little pill-like things. The weird thing is, though, they actually have, when we look at a 50,000 times microscope and we pull it up, it has like a rotor stator. It has everything, the shaft that spin the tail and make this thing go. It's really complex when you think about it. It is like an engineering feat. There's a guy from Harvard who's like, yeah, this is the most complex engine we've ever seen. Or no, sorry, not most complex, most efficient engine that we've ever seen. Efficient is the word I meant to use. All right, now work with me. This little tail spins at 100,000 RPMs.
That sounds preposterous.
Exactly. That's my point. And it just, and so if you look up a flagellar motor, that's the bacterial flagellum, the breakdown of how it works. And they talk about the rotor stator and how the motor works. And I guess it works with the acids around it to get feedback and change its operation and change how it's going to move. And my point is, it's complex, and the idea that you can't just accidentally have something like that evolve. Now, Darwin, in his book, Origin of Species, he had said, look, if anyone could demonstrate that there was a complex organism that existed that could have evolved without slight modification along the way, his theory would absolutely break down. And I'm just saying now, as we learn more, the science, no, it doesn't say, oh, Jesus is God and this, or Allah is God. No, I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying it shows intelligent design. It shows a creator, and it shows that something was created. Now, you could definitely make an argument about aliens, right? Well, aliens were the creator.
Panspermia, right?
Right. They brought down the DNA.
Who created the aliens? It's turtles all the way down, dude.
It's a turtle.
Earth is built on a turtle. What's under the turtle? It's another turtle.
The Indians were way ahead of the game.
Yeah, they knew
what you're saying. All right. So like I said, I'm making an argument for an intelligent creator, though. Like I said, I'm not trying to pin you down to, you need to go to Sunday school or anything.
Right. Intelligent design is.
I'm just saying that the science doesn't just automatically go, oh, you're an idiot if you believe in God. It kind of goes the other way, to be honest. Now I have more. Yeah, go ahead.
One of the popes, I can't remember what it was, but it would, in the past 30 or 40 years, one of the popes had said that the theory of evolution is completely in line with the teachings of the Bible.
Well, I mean, I think you're definitely naive to think that there isn't some level of evolution. I mean, because we've seen it, right? Do we not see the strong survive in all kinds of things?
Right.
And, maybe what is it like up in, I'm going to get in trouble here because I'm grouping people and whatever, but like you go up to Alaska, the people who have been surviving for years are people with thicker, bodies that, can handle the cold, right? They talk about, we've done stories about guys being in freezing water for, like 10 hours or something. And they're like, well, yeah, the people up there can kind of do that, the Eskimo types and whatever. And they're like, it's not, something they normally, but that's part of evolution, right? It's going to be natural selection. And I think it would be naive to imply that that's not happening, that we don't kind of change. Now, whether we came up from lizards to here kind of sounds like a stretch to me, but hey, you do you, right? I'm not making that argument. All right, Kevin, I see you smiling. What do you got?
Well, I mean, the lizards you're talking about, all
right,
evolution in lizards.
Tadpole.
Let's talk about it though, because I was looking into it.
All right,
dinosaurs might have gone extinct, or they might have evolved. Some people say they turned into birds. Right. They turned into lizard people.
We do have evidence of that. The double eyelids with Hillary and
Yep. Everybody, that lady on the plane, I know she saw it. She backtracked later on and said she was just, upset or whatever. But I know she saw that. That was a lizard person, man. Those reptilians, they created religion. Now you're talking about God and evolution, but let's talk about religion for a second.
Okay.
I read a book and it said that reptilians invented religion so they get people to all go into like places together, get together and group up.
Okay.
That way they can eat them.
Yes.
So when you go to church, just think about that. This could be a plot so the reptilians can get you all in one spot and have a buffet. I'm not saying that this book is accurate. It also said that Santa Claus was the devil because Santa Claus sounds like Satan. And he gives candy to children, which is bad for him. So obviously he's the devil. It made a lot of suppositions that without a whole lot of evidence backing it up. But I mean, it is a theory floating around out there.
All right. I like it. Now, so then we can go back to, well, yeah, Chuck, there's complex things in our DNA and whatever. And, people have even made an argument that there's a DNA code that kind of exists throughout. You had kind of touched on it earlier with your theory that kind of exists throughout the universe, and it kind of replicates. And so when we look outside, there's a multiverse theory, right? And so, and they always talk about, you guys have probably heard lately, a lot of science in the podcasts and stuff, and they talk about Goldilocks planets, right? Because, they don't exist, planets that that have all the elements and things you need to create life.
Right.
Now, and you can dig deeper into that and be like, well, just because we think you need these things to create life,
right,
doesn't mean
anything.
That's, because who knows? Maybe there's a different form. Maybe they live in a freaking hydrogen gas vapor and it's some kind of, thing. I don't know. Right. I mean, I haven't, I don't understand everything. Mm-hmm. However, there's something called, what is it? Like advanced protons, I think. I don't know. I have it dug down somewhere in my notes. But the bottom line is they've looked and really these other planets don't exist. They say that the likelihood of finding another planet that could sustain life as we understand it, or is even compatible with creating life, is, they said it's 1 to the negative 15th. So that's a lot of zeros. I don't know. Like, the odds of finding one that, I think their answer was even that had any of the elements that would really, create, but it was enough to create life. Go ahead.
I have to say that I disagree because I did see a photo of Bigfoot on Mars. So
you know what? I think I've seen that, or was it the moon?
Everybody's seen that, and everyone knows that Bigfoot is from Mars.
Okay,
and he's there. He's there eating the mushrooms. I guess there's Martian mushrooms, and he's eating those things, and he's just foraging and living his best life.
Foraging, I like it. No, and so that's the thing is that the science. Everyone wants to go back to science, but they kind of seem to be selective in what science we choose. And that's with just about everything. Mm-hmm. It seems that people want to push their agenda and, and whether it be climate change, which again, is the climate changing? Yeah, I'd say it's kind of different than it was before, In my lifetime, I see differences in the summer and whatever. Is it sunspots? Is it, Kevin farting? Is it because I'm eating meat? I don't know. But
it's all those things.
I know if you tax me more, that it'll definitely work out better for the planet. I do know that. I've heard.
I saw Greta Thunberg getting into it just today. She got in trouble because she had a stop the genocide in Palestine sign she was holding up, but she had a little octopus, a stuffed octopus in the picture, and apparently that's anti-Semitic. I can't keep up with it anymore, though. I can't keep up with. Yeah, I can't keep up with how, there's too many things. Everything is offensive to somebody if you get into it, deep enough. But I don't know. It seems like a stretch. You really got to go after it.
Yeah. Well, I just find that more and more, we have these strong arm, arguments that I know scientists back in the 70s or whatever would have a strong opinion on. Well, everybody agrees is how we prove science. Mm-hmm. Right. And I don't know if they understand that that's actually not science. Everyone agrees. Mm-hmm. Like, it's this. Look, here's a picture. Look, I can recreate it. I can show you. That's science. Like, I get that. But to be like, well, look, these 5 guys, we all got together and we scienced it out, and magic.
Yeah, I mean, I science the heck out of stuff all the time. What are you talking about? I mean, it comes down to either science. Who are you going to listen to? Ancient alien experts or scientists? You know what I mean? It's all a scam, man. Either the scientists. Or
the guys on the podcast. Yeah, exactly. No, that's it. Slow Burn mentioned, that, in theory, there would be life everywhere in different types of life, right? On the different planets as things keep evolving, as you go. Mm-hmm.
Right. Venetians and Martians and they're all around us, man.
They're all around us. But that was one of the arguments that I heard about aliens is they said prior to that movie, Third Encounters or whatever.
Yeah. Encounters.
All the aliens people would describe were like all over the place in description. Mm-hmm. And it would be like things relative to the horror movies at the time.
Right.
And then after Close Encounters came out, then it was like they were all the same. Yeah, they were all the Greys. And they were like, it's the weirdest thing. That's all anybody saw. And then
so I've got a list of some of the different aliens we can run through real quick while we're talking about it. I'd
like to hear it.
The Greys, right? Obviously, we all know what they are. They're about 3 feet tall, according to all the crazy people that claim to have seen them. Reptilians, obviously, we touched on those. Then there's the Hopkins Goblin.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah. Then there's the Flatbush Monster. Now, a lot of these sound like not aliens, but goblins and monsters. But you're confused. That's the only, that's your fault.
It's your own ignorance.
The Jersey Devil, right?
You're showing that you're ignorant if you don't understand and agree with this, right? All right.
Yeah. Now the Jersey Devil, that's kind of in our area. I haven't seen him yet, but I hear he has hooves for feet, wings, and large distended testicles.
Oh,
they just big danglers. I don't know what. I've never seen them, so I don't know. I can't tell you. And then they're the tall whites. Now, when you get into it, they say there's like 30 different types of aliens.
Okay.
But it's those, and then they're like 20 different types of reptilians. So most of the aliens are really just reptilians when you start claiming numbers like that,
Hence, once again, proving evolution.
Right. Reptilians.
Exactly.
Yep.
Right.
Reptile people.
Yeah. I see it. I see how you got there.
Mm-hmm. Everybody knows. Hillary Clinton, it's all a big cabal. They're all reptilians. It's Trump. It's Biden. It's
Bush.
Hillary. They're all playing games that, they're against each other to keep people divided. It's just a plot by the reptilians.
Dude, I learned it early on.
You're not in it.
I learned it early on when I started watching WWF, and then it became the WWE. These guys, they'd go out, they hate each other, they fight, they're throwing chairs, and then they're all at the bar hanging out afterward. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, what's going on here?
And then now I've seen Congress, and I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah. You're all at the big ball, and everybody's...
Yep, it's a big reptilian club, Chuck.
All right. Slow burn mentioned that maybe Bigfoot is just protection for the rest of the aliens.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have,
we already established that Bigfoot is from Mars, so
because you look at the Greys and stuff, and I feel like they have really thin skin. I feel like you'd be able to tear them apart pretty easy.
Right, hand-to-hand combat. I don't feel like it'd be much.
But you add some kind of leathery, hairy, big mess like Bigfoot. And you're probably not cutting through so easy.
Yeah, it's a different game all of a sudden.
I feel like I'm a slasher with a knife. I get in there, I do some damage on the Greys.
Right.
But you get in,
you got to fight Bigfoot. That's a different game.
And the weird thing is, there's something about when something's really hairy, no matter how many times you stab it, you don't really get the satisfaction. You don't see it because the blood is kind of stuck in the hair.
Right.
And you don't really know, am I getting any kind of, headway on this?
Right.
And you kind of defeat yourself. I'm just saying that could happen.
Did you see that that Bigfoot movie with I think it's Willow Creek or Willow Manor? It was written and directed by Bobcat Goldthwait.
Oh, I like Bobcat.
You know who I'm talking about? You know who I'm talking about from Police Academy?
Yeah, I don't know the reference, but
apparently Bigfoot is out looking for forest brides.
Oh,
so if you go out with your girl, he's going to snatch your girl and smash your head into a tree and make baby Bigfoot.
Like a pumpkin, right? Your head's just going to go.
Just smash it.
What is that movie, Lord of the Flies? Where they drop the rock on his head?
Yep.
I had a horrifying childhood where I had a buddy of mine who somehow was obsessed with that movie. And so I'd go over and hang out, and we'd watch Lord of the Flies, and sure enough, he would rewind this scene where they push a rock on somebody's head over and over, and it's just
how that head came apart,
it's like a pumpkin. And you're just like boom, and it's disturbing. It probably explains a lot of the craziness that you kind of get in this podcast.
Yeah. I myself had watched Last House on the Left when I was far too young to see that.
I think Sharon knows about that.
Yeah, it ruined my childhood. But what are you going to do?
Bruce was like, you know what movie you guys got to see? Sorry, that was a little inside. You guys, it was too much information.
Inside baseball, but that's all right. That's all right. What are you going to do? So we're talking about intelligent design.
Okay.
So somebody had to make life, right? That can reproduce. Like it's not just enough.
Who made God?
All of a sudden you're alive. Well, I mean, I think we already figured that out. It's turtles all the way down. It's
okay. Right.
You know,
it
just keeps going on.
I got off track. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, a lot of people believe that that evolution really happened, but God guided it in the right direction. But how do we know it wasn't aliens that guided it in the right direction?
Exactly.
Right?
That's
you know
fair,
what I mean? They could have been coming here for millennia,
right?
And just making little tweaks here and there.
But that is my multiverse theory of, you know, hey, there's no other planets that really seem to fit. Like it's a very specific thing, and the probability doesn't really fit. But you know what? The probability that there was a God that was out there that was always there forever, I don't know. I mean, you know, you can make an argument either way, but I'm just saying, I think really what it comes down to is that somehow as a culture and a society, we're accepting that aliens and unexplained things are completely reasonable for somebody to believe.
Right.
Okay. Like you're not crazy if you think, hey, there's unexplained, you know, aircraft and things coming down, most likely from another planet or from the bottom of the ocean or God knows what. Right. Somehow, if you believe that, you're not crazy. But if you believe in a creator and God, then you're just crazy. And I'm just saying, I don't really see how we make the leap of one and not the other. That's my argument.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying we've been kind of now, if you had said, well, you know, Chuck, Christianity, they've gone and destroyed things and had wars and the Catholic Church and the little boys and all this stuff. And they've been bad all along. I could say, well, religion has definitely created some bad things.
Yeah.
I could agree with that argument. But what I'm talking about is the fact that there's a God. Now, whether religion's been corrupted by man, and if you don't think that men can influence things, I mean, right? So Muslims and Jews and Christianity all kind of come from Abraham, right? He's the foundation of it all.
So the idea is that Jews believe that God spoke to Moses. Christians believe that God spoke to Moses and Jesus, and Muslims believe that God spoke to Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad.
Right.
So, I mean, it's really the same.
Right. But I guess it's kind of my argument is each one is man's version and how it's gone over the different ways, right? So to be like, well, man hasn't had any influence on how we perceive God. Well, when you have these three very distinct religions, I mean, less of a distinction between Christianity and Judaism, but still distinct religions, then you see that man has shaped, and I would have to say at least two of them have corrupted some kind of view of it all. And
right. I mean, if you play the math out,
you know, there's kind of no way that man doesn't have an influence. And I guess that's one of the things, you know, people always get down on me for talking about religion and whatever. And, oh, you have these opinions and what makes you think yours is right and whatever. Well, I just think we're always accountable for ourselves. And I've been talking to my kids a lot about this lately. And, you know, it doesn't matter what's happened in history. Obviously, I guess it matters. But when it comes to shaping your opinion, I'm saying it shouldn't matter. You're accountable for you and your life and the choices you make and what you do. That's on you.
Right.
And, you know, saying, well, 200 years ago, this happened, or 1,000 years ago, this happened. Well, right. But what you do with what you've learned and seen and other people do, that you're still responsible for your own decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you need to speak out when things are wrong. You guys probably never noticed that about me, that I feel like I need to voice my opinion on things. And I think you need to, be accountable to you. That's all I'm saying.
All right. That sounds like a good way to wrap things up.
That sounds like it. Uncle Whiskey says, better to live like there is a God and be wrong than to believe that
there isn't and be wrong.
And believe there isn't and wrong. And that's one of the things. There was this girl, Tammy Bruce, and she talk show lady back in the day, and she always used to talk about, she was like, look, I don't believe in God at all. I'm not down for it. But what I can tell you is, if politicians and stuff don't feel that they're accountable to something bigger than them, then you end up with a really ugly world. And I'd rather live in a world where people feel accountable to some kind of morality.
Right. Yeah, I'd rather my politician believes that there's a judgment at the end of life than
instead of just get yours and then that's the end of it. So I think Kevin's called it. I think that it's coming to an end. We are going to have an after show. We're going to talk a little bit about Israel and things going on in the Middle East right now. So if you want to stick around, that might be worth a watch. There is actually some crazy things going on at the Capitol you might not know about.
Yep. I heard a few things.
All right. So we're going to get into it anyway. And I will probably be able to put the podcast up as well for the second episode. We'll see what we can do. Depends how long it goes. Anyway, questions, concerns, you want to send Kevin hate mail, preppingbadass@gmail.com. I guess I'm the one who earns the hate mail today. So,
I appreciate the hate mail, though. Kevin just be entertaining about your insults.
It makes
that's
me
all.
sad. It makes me sad on the inside. So, whatever. So at least know you're getting through if you insult me. It really hits home. Kevin just enjoys the mockery and it's like, that jackass.
I feel like I feed off of it.
Yeah, that's it. It just makes them stronger. So, to each their own. But otherwise, patreon.com/preppingbadass. With that, stay safe. And we will talk to you guys next week.
Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.